The gray cart squeaked down the empty hallway, a sound that had marked 18 years of afternoons. But today was different. It was her last day, and the hallway was not silent. A low rumble grew as she approached the gymnasium. Voices too many to belong to a normal school day. She pushed open the heavy door, expecting an empty floor to mop one last time. Instead, a sea of faces stared back. Hundreds of people standing shoulder to shoulder. In their hands, raised toward the ceiling, were small golden rectangles, catching the fluorescent light. Sandra Bell froze, her fingers locked around the cart handle. The gold cards shimmered like a field of tiny suns, and she had no idea why they were there. Behind the crowd, a banner hung crookedly. "Happy retirement, Miss Sandra." She couldn't move. She couldn't speak. The only question echoing in the gym was the one she couldn't ask. Who were these people? But to understand who those people were, you have to go back 18 years, to a different silence. Sandra Bell started at Newark Middle School in 2008. She was just trying to keep her head down. What she noticed first wasn't the outdated plumbing or the graffiti. It was the kids who never seemed to leave. One afternoon, she found a girl asleep against a locker. The girl said her mom worked a double shift, so she just waited.
Waiting where? In an empty hallway doing nothing. That ain't right.
The school library closed at 3, funding cut years ago. After-school programs were gone. Kids with nowhere else sat on the floor, doing homework, waiting for parents who worked late.
Someone's got to do something about this. And I guess that someone's me.
Boiler room was cluttered with pipes and mildew. Sandra looked at it and saw something else. Little did she know that look would one day fill a gymnasium. She started by hauling out broken mop buckets and rusted boiler parts. It wasn't her job, but she did it anyway.
A few desks, a little light, and some quiet. That's all they need.
She dragged 3 discarded desks from a storage closet, scrubbed them until the wood showed, and arranged them in a half circle. Then, on a quiet Saturday, she sat at her kitchen table with a stack of cardboard and a can of gold spray paint. She cut each pass by hand, edges slightly uneven, then sprayed them gold. They glowed when the light hit.
You want in? You earn it. Finish your homework, show me, get a pass. Simple.
The first afternoon, only 2 kids came. They stood in the doorway, hesitant, backpacks clutched tight.
This ain't a playroom. You come here to work. But if you work, I'll help you.
Word spread slowly, in the way secrets do among children who need something no one else offers. And so, in the basement of a school that had forgotten them, the Boiler Room Club was born. The club grew, word passing from one kid to another, like a secret handshake. 12 children huddled around those 3 desks by winter. Sandra found a 4th desk in the janitor's closet. She painted it herself, matching the others. 3 years in, a new principal arrived. Morgan was by the book, but he wasn't blind to the school's gaps. One evening after a staff meeting, he walked the empty halls and heard it, the quiet shuffle of feet below. He followed the sound to the boiler room door, slightly ajar. Through the crack, he saw children at desks and Sandra.
What in the world? This isn't on any fire marshal's map.
He saw the golden passes on every desk. He saw the finished worksheets. He understood, in an instant, what this was.
Principal Morgan. I can explain.
Don't explain. If I don't know, I don't have to lie.
He closed the door softly and never spoke of it again. The district stayed in the dark. 18 years of silent afternoons, and in all that time, not one district official ever asked what happened in the boiler room. Then, on a Tuesday morning, a staff email arrived with the words, "We regretfully announce the retirement of Miss Sandra Bell."
18 years in this building. And it ends with a cold email.
Down the hall, a young teacher named David Turner read the same email.
Miss Sandra retiring? She can't just disappear without a word. Not to us.
He opened his desk drawer and pulled out a small, worn gold cardboard rectangle.
Earned this pass in 7th grade. It's the reason I became a teacher.
He sat down at his desk, pulled up his former classmates' group chat, and began to type.
She never asked for thanks, but I am going to give it.
He hit post, and within hours, phones across 3 states began to buzz. David's post showed a scuffed gold pass. The caption, "Miss Sandra taught me to show up. She deserves a real goodbye." Within minutes, hundreds shared it. Comments flooded in. "She saved my year. I still have my pass."
Look at this. All those years, and nobody forgot a thing.
By evening, a private group appeared. Golden Pass alumni. Requests poured in. A message in the group. "We can't let her leave with just an email. Let's surprise her on her last day." Replies flew in. "I'll fly from Philly, from DC." The group went from 50 to 200 overnight. The plan solidified. Fill the gym with alumni, each holding their original Golden Pass.
She can't know. Not a whisper. This has to be the biggest surprise she's ever seen.
Word reached as far as the state capitol. A user named Elaine Carter typed a comment that made the whole group pause. Operation Golden Goodbye was set. Sandra had no idea a wave was building right under her feet. Among the flood of replies, 2 stories cut through the noise. Tanya Brooks, a nurse manager. Andre Wallace, a city councilman. Tanya posted, "Miss Sandra made science feel like it mattered. I wouldn't be a nurse without the boiler room."
13 years, and I still remember that pass in my hand. I am flying in, no question.
Andre Wallace followed, his profile name carrying the weight of a public office. Andre wrote, "The boiler room kept me off the corners. I am a councilman because Miss Sandra made me believe I could lead."
My pass is in my wallet right now. I'll be at that gym, front row.
By the end of the week, the group had 214 confirmed attendees. The date was locked, Sandra's final day. David stared at the number. 18 years of kindness, now returning like a tidal wave. But the name that truly silenced the chat wasn't Tanya or Andre. It was Elaine Carter, and what she posted would change everything. Elaine Carter's post began, "My name is Dr. Elaine Carter. I am the state superintendent of schools, and I am a Golden Pass kid. I sat at desk number 2. I passed 8th grade algebra because Miss Sandra sat with me every day." Beneath the words, a photo of her worn Golden Pass. A grainy memory surfaced for everyone who'd been in that room. A young girl at a desk labeled 2, pencil moving.
The state superintendent. She was in the boiler room with us. This is bigger than any of us knew.
Elaine continued, "I'll be at the gym, and I am not coming alone. I have a surprise that will make sure Miss Sandra's work never ends." The group detonated. Comments flew too fast to read. In 1 hour, 60 more alumni requested to join. The total hit 274. People who hadn't spoken in years were sharing flights and booking hotels.
I sat at that desk because I had nowhere else to go. Now I have the power to make sure no kid has to hope for a boiler room miracle.
She kept her pass all these years too. Now we'll have the whole state watching. Miss Sandra won't believe it.
Somewhere in the city, Sandra polished her cart, unaware that the biggest day of her life was now only 2 weeks away.
Principal Morgan, we have 274 alumni flying in from 3 states. We need the gym on her last day. Can you help us keep it quiet?
274. I looked the other way for years. This school owes her. Yes, I'll clear the gym.
Morgan cleared the gym schedule for maintenance. Golden passes began arriving in the mail from across the country.
The boiler room program, funding, staffing, a plaque for desk number 2, all approved. This is my gift to her.
Sandra, before you go today, could you check the gym floor? The custodian reported a leak. I'd really appreciate it.
You know, I can't walk away without making sure it's done, Principal. I'll head there last.
By 3 p.m., the gym was stripped of its hoops and mats, chairs set in silent rows, the banner waiting. On a table near the door, a collection of golden passes awaited their owners, some nearly 20 years old. Sandra finished her rounds, unknowing, her last day ticking down like any other. Inside the gym, 274 people held their breath. Outside, Sandra's cart squeaked closer. In the weeks before that last squeak, Sandra had already said her goodbyes. Not to people, but to the boiler room. She unlocked the boiler room one last time. She didn't need to clean it. It was spotless. She just wanted to stand there.
18 years in this dusty hole. More life happened here than in any classroom upstairs.
She packed away the last can of gold spray paint, the scissors she'd used to cut 1,000 passes. She closed the box. A small voice broke the silence. A current student stood in the doorway, clutching a homework sheet.
Miss Sandra, I finished my math. Is it too late to earn a pass?
No, baby. It's never too late. You hold on to this.
Sandra locked the boiler room door for the last time. The sound echoed like a period at the end of a sentence.
That's it, then. Nobody ever knew. Maybe that's how it was supposed to be.
She didn't know that thousands of miles away, her golden kids were packing their passes and booking their flights. The last few days, Sandra moved through the halls like a ghost. Routine, but hollow. Everything she touched for the final time.
Sandra, some people might want to, mark your leaving. Don't be surprised if there's a little something.
Principal, I just clean floors. No need for a fuss. I'll finish my rounds and slip out quiet.
Slip out quiet. If only you knew. I almost told her about the gym.
Meanwhile, in hotels across the city, alumni checked in under assumed names, golden passes tucked in wallets, in purses. They moved through the city like sleeper agents, careful not to be spotted. A glance, a nod, a shared secret. David sent a final message to the group. No last-minute texts, no calls. She notices everything. We're ghosts until the gym doors open. At home, Sandra sat in her quiet living room, flipping through an old photo album. Children she'd known. Years passed.
All those kids. I wonder if they ever think about that dusty old boiler room. Probably not. And that's okay.
She closed the album and turned off the light. Only one more day. The morning sun found Sandra in her bathroom, pinning the name patch onto her gray shirt one last time. She arrived at school, the building quieter than usual for a Wednesday. She dismissed the thought.
Miss Sandra, before you leave today, could you check the gym? Custodian said, there's a leak. I'd really appreciate it.
A leak. I'll head there last. Can't have my final day leaving a mess.
She continued her rounds. The carts squeak a familiar heartbeat. The hallways were empty, classrooms still.
Everybody must be busy in their rooms. Just another normal day.
But there was an undercurrent, a charged stillness, like the moment before a storm. She didn't feel it yet. Her path inevitably turned toward the gym. The double doors loomed, a closed for cleaning sign dangling. Sandra paused, hearing the faintest murmur behind the doors, like a distant ocean.
Probably just the pipes from that leak. Let's get this over with.
But her feet didn't carry her toward the gym. They turned out of 18 years of habit, toward the basement stairs. The key turned with a familiar click. The door swung open onto an empty room, stripped of desks but heavy with memory.
All those years. And this was the heart of it. Not a classroom, not an office. Right here.
A single forgotten pass lay on the shelf, left behind from some long ago afternoon. She picked it up.
One last pass. Maybe I'll need it. Thank you.
She locked it for the final time. The sound a quiet amen. She returned to her cart, and the squeaking wheels resumed their last journey. The murmur beyond the gym doors had grown, but Sandra only tightened her grip on the cart and moved forward.
All right, let's see about that leak.
The cart's wheels whined a lonely note. As Sandra pushed it the last 100 feet, the hallway felt longer than ever. The muffled sound she'd dismissed earlier grew into a low, rhythmic tide, a press of bodies trying to stay silent. She stopped, listened. A flicker of confusion crossed her face, but she shook it off. The closed for cleaning sign swung slightly from its nail. She'd seen it 100 times, meant nothing.
Just some old pipes. Nothing to worry about.
She released the cart, its squeak dying behind her. Her fingers closed around the cold metal bar. Through the door, a sudden hush, as if the whole world was holding its breath. She pushed. The door gave way with a groan, swinging inward. The light hit her first, then the silence, and then, before her eyes could adjust, a roar. Not a leak, not an empty room, a sea of faces, hundreds of them. And in every hand, a golden card. The roar coalesced into a single word, shouted from 274 throats. Surprise. Sandra's hand flew to her mouth, her back pressed against the cold metal door, as if she could retreat into the hallway. The golden cards shimmered in the gym lights, a constellation of gratitude. Her mind tried to count them and failed.
Those are my passes. These are my kids.
The banner she'd glimpsed earlier came into focus. Happy retirement, Miss Sandra. The world swam. Her hand reached back, searching for the cart handle, needing something solid in a world suddenly unmoored. The crowd, sensing her shock, quieted, hundreds of people patiently waiting as she fought to breathe.
They came back. After all these years, they came back.
A sob escaped her, raw and ragged. Her knees buckled, but the cart held her up. The room held its breath, then released it in a wave of applause that shook the rafters. Sandra's story had just found its ending. Through the blur of tears, her eyes found a face. A young man in the front row, a teacher's tie, holding a golden pass.
David? David Turner?
We kept them, Miss Sandra, all of us.
Then another face emerged from the crowd. A woman in hospital scrubs, a golden pass pinned to her chest. Tanya Brooks, and beside her, a man in a suit, a city council pin glinting. Andre Wallace. Sandra opened her mouth, but only a sob came out. She pressed a hand to her heart, as if on cue. The crowd raised their golden passes higher. The gym transformed into a sea of shimmering gold. Sandra's knees shook. She gripped the cart for support, her eyes moving across the hundreds of faces she once knew. She tried to speak again, but the words caught in her throat. These were her kids. And then, at the very back, a woman in a dark suit began to walk forward. The crowd fell silent. Andre Wallace stepped from the crowd, his golden pass held high.
Miss Sandra, I used to hate reading. You handed me a book and said I just hadn't found the right story yet. Now I am a councilman because of you.
Then Tanya Brooks in her nurse scrubs moved forward.
When my mom got sick, I wanted to quit. You sat with me every day and told me I could heal. Now I am a nurse manager.
David Turner stepped beside her. Sandra reached out and pulled him into a fierce hug.
You said my talking would make me a teacher. Now I teach in this school. The boiler room taught me more than any college.
Sandra's body shook with sobs. She gripped the cart, still speechless. Finally, Dr. Elaine Carter reached the front. The crowd parted. She thought of the pass she'd kept in her office drawer for 20 years.
Miss Sandra, I was the girl at desk number 2. I passed algebra because you refused to let me fail. I didn't come just to say thank you. This state owes you a debt, and I am here to pay it.
Elaine Carter unfolded an official document, her hands steady, though her voice trembled.
The State Board of Education has unanimously approved funding for a new after-school program, fully staffed, fully stocked. It will be called the Boiler Room. Every child who enters will earn a golden pass, the same pass you gave us.
A collective gasp rippled through the gym. People pressed their passes to their chests, tears falling freely.
Miss Sandra, we're not asking a janitor to run it. We're asking the woman who built it from nothing. You are the founding director, paid, permanent, with all the funding a program like this deserves.
Sandra's hand flew to her name patch. Her lips parted, but no sound came. The gym erupted. Gold cards waved like a storm in the rafters, cheers shaking the walls.
They named it after my boiler room. They're paying me to keep doing it. Is this real?
She tried to speak, tried to form the word yes, but her voice was gone. The crowd roared in her place. Elaine held out the microphone. Sandra pushed away from her cart and walked forward, legs trembling.
I never did this for awards. I just did what needed doing. What any grown-up should do. Director, I ain't ever been nothing but a janitor. But if you are offering I accept. But I got one condition. I keep my uniform. I keep my patch. A director is still a janitor at heart. That's who I am.
Elaine nodded, and the crowd rose again, a thunderous standing ovation. The golden cards waved like a field under wind, each one a heartbeat of gratitude. Sandra looked out, her hand resting on the name patch over her heart. Miss Sandra. Always.
From a dusty boiler room to a paid director. But I am still just me.
But one more secret awaited her. In the corner of the gym, beneath a velvet cloth, Elaine led Sandra to the shadowed corner. David Turner lifted the velvet cloth. An old wooden desk stood beneath.
That's desk number 2. From the boiler room.
We bolted it to the floor, Miss Sandra. This desk isn't going anywhere.
A brass plaque shone on its surface. Sandra's trembling fingers traced the engraved letters.
Desk number 2, where Elaine Carter passed algebra. And 1,000 futures began. My whole life was bolted to that boiler room floor. Now you've given it a nameplate.
Every child who sits here will know your name. The boiler room is official now.
The gym erupted again, applause washing over the old desk like a tide.
That desk with the wobbly leg. The one I found in the closet. Now it'll outlast me.
The brass plaque gleamed, a promise sealed in metal. Sandra's boiler room would never be forgotten. The thunderous applause gave way to a quieter sound. The hum of reunions, hands held, embraces that lasted minutes. Sandra stood by the bolted desk, fingers tracing the plaque, tears falling onto the brass. David pulled her into a second hug. Tanya and Andre followed, their golden passes pressed together. Slowly, the gym emptied. The banner remained, golden light catching its letters. Happy retirement, Miss Sandra. She walked back to her gray cart. The same cart she'd pushed for 18 years. The one she'd clung to in shock just an hour ago.
I walked in here, a janitor retiree. I am walking out a director, with my patch and my dignity.
Near the door, a small figure waited. Maya, the girl she'd given a golden pass to just days before.
Miss Sandra, I heard there's a new program. Will you really be the director?
I will, baby. And I'll still be wearing this patch. Miss Sandra, always.
The girl smiled, clutching her pass and walked toward the door. The boiler room had a director now. Sandra pushed her cart one final time down the hallway. The squeak was the same, but the woman behind it had changed. She passed the gym doors, now wide open, the banner still hanging, a silent witness to the roar that had filled the room. Outside, the evening light painted the school in gold. A new sign on the lawn read, "The Boiler Room, opening this fall."
I used to think nobody saw me. But tonight, 274 people proved me wrong.
She unlocked her car, but before she got in, she turned back one last time, not toward the gym, but toward the small basement window, where a faint light still glowed, the boiler room, where it all began.
Tomorrow, I'll come back not to mop floors, but to build futures. Same room, same heart.
And Miss Sandra, the janitor who turned a boiler room into a classroom, and a classroom into a legacy, drove home, her uniform still on, her patch still shining. The golden passes that night returned to wallets and frames across the country. But one remained on the bolted desk, under the brass plaque, a promise for every child still to come. Sandra Bell had spent 18 years invisible. But from that day on, the whole state knew her name.